Today we're going to be doing that technical analysis for the SPY, Qs, Apple, Tesla, Amazon, and even NVIDIA. And we're even going to add one thing at the end that could be hinting that we could see a green day in the next 2 days. And that thing is the VIX, okay? So stick around for that because that's pretty important. As we jump into the SPY, I just wanted to note that I am going to just be covering some daily charts because I use my phone to record and I've had like 3 scam callers while trying to record this and I have to restart every time. So fingers crossed that no scam caller during this recording, okay? So overall on the SPY here, what we were paying attention to is the top here of our risk range. That's these purple lines, okay? And you notice it was right before our gap here, and you can see how price reacts off of that level. I really thought we would go fill that gap, and maybe, just maybe, we could fill that on Monday with some, eager FOMO people, but we could see this have some more upside. Okay, so the potential to the bull side right now is that this move is not finished. This is just an overall pullback right now because we are holding up above the 9-day, and we could see this extend to the top of this trend between our 2 most recent highs. Okay, so we could extend to the top of that. The only problem with that is now we would be outside of our yellow line up here, which is the monthly expected move. So overall, the probabilities here are to the downside, and we're going to see a bunch of stocks that are kind of telling you that. And how far down could we go? Most likely we will see price come down into this type of area. That is the scenario that I'm leaning towards. It would take out these lows, get people nice and fearful, and then we could see some kind of upward move because guess who talks this Thursday? Jerome Powell. And Jerome Powell, if he hints at all that he is going to pause in November, people can get excited and we can start to see a bullish move play out. As we switch over to the Qs, you can kind of see they came a lot closer to the top of their trend here between these 2 highs. So we do have like a big continuation triangle happening right now on a daily chart. So if this thing does play out to the upside, you can see there's some good upside in this move possible. So what we need in order for that to happen is we do need some confirmation because of that news yesterday with the CPI. That data came in very in consensus, and that is not something that is good enough to extend us to higher levels. We need to, right now, people are going to start to sell. That way they can price in a possible another hike. But if Jerome Powell can come out on Thursday and possibly give us, some kind of cookie, some kind of, we're not going to raise rates. Maybe he says plain out and simple that we are going to pause into the end of the year. That would be very bullish. And as you can see, the thing that would happen here is we would take out this low that we've been paying a lot of attention to. This type of move like this would actually take out that low, giving that very bearish sentiment beneath here. So you could see shorts start to pile up, and then we can maybe, just maybe, start to get a contrarian indication that we are going to see an upward move into the end of the year. Overall, what I believe would be bad for the market is a bullish move here. I actually think it would not be healthy for the market to have a continuous bullish move here. I believe the SPY would be, a lot of things would be in a spot where they do need bigger pullbacks. So I think if we do go higher, we're just asking for an even bigger pullback at this point. So I think that even if you are a bull in this market, you are kind of wanting this to come down and set up either a, higher low to then extend us to the upside, or you're looking for that divergence on a daily, right, between these lows here, and maybe this just curls over and we can see something like this start to play out. We are going to be updating you on this every single day. So if this does start to play out throughout the week, come click on my channel because we do put out a video every single night. Sunday, I am going to go into a shorter time frame and just on a lot of these stocks, just to show you guys how we could see some kind of bounce on Monday. And the VIX is hinting at something, but overall on Apple, what we want to pay attention to is Apple right now is above all of its moving averages, right? So we're above the 200, the 50, the 9, the 20. We're above all of those, so we still could see some upside in Apple, and we haven't filled that gap that's right above us just yet. So we want to, if we do see bullishness, we actually could see Apple come all the way up into that price point of about 183 before we're met with more selling. Overall, there are sellers up in this area, so I believe that if you are a bull, that you're heading into some type of headwind with those sellers right above you in the near future. And Apple's a good stock where we can say, this is going to be in a kind of not a very good spot necessarily, because you see we've had just green day after green day in the last 2 weeks. And then now we're getting that confirmation to the downside with that indecision candle. So the probability is that we come down into this type of area and set up that divergence that we're talking about, or we can come into our purple zone that really likes to we like to go to this zone, okay? We're attracted to it. Maybe we are able to set up some kind of higher low to extend us to the upside. But overall, I wanted to touch on the bull side with Apple because you can see if we start to keep extending up and maybe even go all the way to this gap fill around 191, you can see that's a big move, and we're going to need some kind of bigger pullback, right, in order to see more upside. Now, that's totally possible. It's just right now, as of next week, we do have probabilities to the downside. Now, Tesla, I am going to give us a thumbs up and a nice big pat on the back. So thank you if you are subscribed and you found this data or this info helpful. Tesla did have a pretty down day. That's 3% in one day, and we're going to halt right at that 50-day moving average. So we still could see that lower or that higher low start to set up. I'm targeting this range right at that, actually that 246 to 248 level, somewhere up in here. So we could see that scenario start to play out, but you can see this is a very bearish day. And if that continues, then we actually could see that full touch of the bottom of that triangle that's on your daily or weekly chart. But something we can know on Tesla, you're pretty much going to cross on this MACD, okay? Now nothing, we pay attention to confirmations, and this hasn't confirmed yet, so we still could see a little trick move, but maybe, just maybe, if we do head to lower levels before the earnings on Wednesday, maybe Tesla can help out the market by producing some good numbers around this area. Amazon here, you're just getting rejection at that gap resistance, okay? So we are getting this whole area in here is going to be met with sellers. You have the gap resistance and the gap fill here. And overall, this was what I was indicating, was telling me that we were going to see some downside today, just because this is a pretty big rejection off of the 50. So we are seeing that, if you would consider it a, indecision candle, we are seeing that play out to the downside. We're losing that 20. If we do lose the 9, then we are going to see this sell off pretty quickly, and we want to pay attention to that low. If that low does get broken, we would want to be paying attention to the bottom of our wedge that seems to be forming here. And at the same time, we do have the monthly ranges on this as well. So if we get outside of these yellow lines, we could get back into this zone pretty quickly. On Amazon and all the other stuff we're talking about, I'm going to give you guys some how high we could go. Okay, if we do see the Fed pause and we do get a bullish run into the end of the year, how high these measured moves can take us. We'll get to that on Sunday. Okay, so we do talk about stocks almost every day, but Sunday we kind of give you an outlook for the week ahead. And you can see why I was overall bearish going into today was because we're getting a bunch of indecision candles, and then you see that candle on Amazon, and we're at areas where we're at gap fills and things like that. So we are at a level where you are going to see sellers step in and get rejection from these areas. Now, on NVIDIA, we are violating the most recent trend, and we just did that today with a pretty bearish bar down 3.16% in a day. That's pretty bearish, but at the same time, we are still above all these moving averages. So kind of like Apple, the danger in this is we could actually see some kind of gap and then use these moving averages as resistance above us to head us to the downside pretty quickly. Overall, the thing that I'm paying attention to, and we'll talk more about it on NVIDIA in the future, or on Sunday, actually, we're going to see some type of drastic move. Right now, there is two scenarios that I mainly want to focus on, and that would be a higher low scenario, or I think this one is pretty probable. We do actually go all the way down to our neckline, even breaking that previous low, coming into these types of areas before Jerome Powell or Tesla earnings even come out. Now the VIX, and I believe that this is probably the most important part of this video, okay? So the VIX here is telling us that we are above the 200, okay? We're above the 50, we're above the 200, and it looks like this 50, what did I say in order to see a bigger crash? This 50 starts to curl up and cross that 200. That is going to be where a crash is actually on the table, but we have to see exactly what is said by Jerome Powell on Thursday. So we really want to pay attention to that. Overall, the other main thing that I want you to pay attention to for Monday is we have stocks that are selling pretty rapidly. A few of them are oversold on those 30-minute time frames. So we could see some kind of bounce on Monday, and that's just because the VIX is up by 15.63% today. So when the VIX is up by more than 10%, that just tells us that we have the probability of 85% chance that there is going to be an up day, or at least a green day, in the next 2 trading sessions. So we do have that going for us right now on the bull side, but overall what we're kind of thinking could play out from here is we could see some kind of dramatic selling that could give us some point up in these areas above 20. And then we could see that fade pretty quickly with that news that Jerome Powell gives us. So if that does happen, then we would start to see the VIX subside and we could see possibly that bull run into the end of the year. The overall takeaway from this video is I know it was short and sweet, and we're going to get into more stuff on Sunday once I do get those risk ranges and things like that. But overall, I want you to focus on having a good weekend, okay? Check out my video, get your little fix and things like that, and then, go have a good weekend, try to relax, and then come back Sunday and we'll talk about all this stuff before Monday's open, okay? So I hope you guys have a good weekend. Good luck next week trading, but right now, good luck with your weekend. I want you to have a good time. Peace.